So I called it, and as surely as if I was betting my grandmother on it, it happened. Um, let's get right into the story. Now, this is from the Times.com, which is about as globalist as it gets, but I wanted to use it as a bellwether for where the globalist position is. And it says, why Iron Lady of Japan may fall at final hurdle. And why is that? Because the partnership party that they combined forces with and have combined forces with for over 2 decades has magically dropped their support of her candidacy for the prime minister's office. And it says a long-serving ally has abandoned the ruling bloc over a funding scandal. So apparently these politicians are upset because there was another politician who was a crook. My God, I'm reminded of that scene in Casablanca where Claude Rains is shocked because he finds out that there's gambling going on over at Rick's place. Throwing the country's upcoming leadership into uncertainty. And this is by Richard Lloyd Perry in Tokyo. The woman poised to become Japan's first prime minister saw her chances of power diminish on Friday. That's today, when her party's longstanding coalition partner walked out in protest over her appointment of a scandal-stricken politician. My God, can you imagine a politician with a scandal? Geez. Sanai Takaichi, I said that they were going to do this. This would be the move that Komeito, I'm not sure how you pronounce it exactly, would be the play. They would split the coalition. We can't do this. No. It doesn't matter that their country is being overrun with globalist immigration policies. It doesn't matter about rising prices. It doesn't matter about the pain of the everyday Japanese citizen. What matters is this one guy. This is the gaslighting that you always get with globalists. They will consistently tell you while your country is falling apart around you that you are the problem. They will pick some obscure thing that means absolutely nothing and say, hey, you are the problem. Right up to the point that they, have doused the entire country in gasoline and are prepared to strike a match and will strike the match, look you dead in the face and say, you are the problem, and then set the whole thing ablaze. This is the globalist playbook to a T. Sanai Takaichi was elected last weekend to the leadership of the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP, which lacks a majority in Japan's Diet, and has to make deals with opposition MPs to pass budgets and bills and to have Takaichi elected as prime minister. She has long viewed Margaret Thatcher as her role model. I said that was good, and in a recent campaign told a group of school children that her goal, quote goal is to become the Iron Lady. What could be the problem? Japan is for Japanese people. That prospect is now in doubt after the desertion of the LDP's most loyal supporter, and they should put loyal in quotes there, the small political party Komeito, which has been in the ruling coalition since 1996. And there's a photo of Takaichi, right, with Tetsu Saito, leader of the coalition's junior partner, Komeito. The Komeito leader, Tetsu Saito, is abandoning the 26-year-old coalition after failing to persuade Takaichi to compromise on changes to rules on political funding. The desertion opens the way for a unified opposition candidate who could potentially muster enough votes to become elected prime minister. And I assure you, that is the move. They'll want to bring in somebody else. They do not want good things for the people of Japan. They don't care about the pain of Japan's people. They don't care that immigration is starting to ruin the country, just like we've seen in Europe, like we've seen for a very long time here in America. They don't care. Takaichi's position was further undermined on Friday by the man she hopes to replace, the outgoing LDP Prime Minister, Shigeru Ishiba. In a long-awaited statement issued to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, he sent a veiled warning against the politics of nationalism and xenophobia that are increasingly being articulated by Japan's far right. It doesn't matter if you've imported tons of Africans who have no interest in assimilating into society, and I said this last week when I made my video. I have tons of friends who have moved to Japan. They assimilate into Japanese society. They marry Japanese men. They marry Japanese women. They assimilate into Japanese society. These people that they're bringing over now have no interest in that whatsoever. They want violence. They want no-go zones. They want mosques. They want to attack 9 and 12-year-old Japanese girls and sexually assault them. But the problem isn't that, and this is what I mean about the gaslighting as they're pouring the gas and getting ready to strike the match. The problem is nationalism and xenophobia. And I said in the last video, Japan needs to get past this shame and anxiety and guilt about World War II. That generation has nearly completely passed into history, as it has passed into history here in our country. And yeah, you could use a little nationalism. And maybe a little xenophobia. A little xenophobia keeps your society together. It keeps your culture together. It makes sure that if change does occur, and I'm not opposed in principle to change, but it makes sure that it doesn't happen too fast and on someone else's foolish and or dangerous and or black-hearted timetable. Let's keep going. Quote, democracy is not perfect. It could be quite vulnerable, Ishiba told a press conference. Civilian politicians who sometimes make poor decisions and go to war. We cannot tolerate speech that threatens or encourages discrimination. This is a cowardly, spineless statement that I'm inserting myself in here now in the middle of his statement, but that is just spineless to the core. These are craven, spiritless people. We have to look at what happened in the past, and we have to be honest. Yeah, that's the same thing that we heard. We constantly have to look at the past. We can't live in the present because we have to be so frozen in the past as to do absolutely nothing when your cities are being overrun by crime, when we pass laws that criminalize self-defense. You have to keep looking at the past. Fuck the past. Okay, you need to look to the present, what's happening now, and how do we course correct so that we have, and all countries have, a bright, optimistic future. We have to be tolerant. These are all the standard bells and whistles and code words. In this political climate, when you hear the word tolerant, that is as red a flag as it gets. Tolerance is not a virtue. It is a code word to just allow your society to be destroyed. That is true liberalism. That's what he finishes by saying. Fuck this guy. I'm sure he's been co-opted. And these people have an agenda. You're just going to be one big androgynous blob. And it's going to be forced upon you, and you won't get to vote about it. I'm not encouraging anybody to go out. That's not what I'm saying. Let me be clear. I'm not encouraging anybody to go out there. I'm not encouraging violence. That's not what I'm saying. But this is the track record. You won't get to vote on it. You won't get a say in it. It's not for you to decide. All you can do is just shut up and pay your taxes and let these people who supposedly know better than you take you over a cataclysmic waterfall. He added, quote, we have fewer and fewer people who have actual memories of war. That's why we have to actively think about what happened in the past. There's a difference between what happened in World War II. They're completely different formats, but I said this. They're completely different formats between what happened in World War II and the attitudes of today. And I said today, Most Japanese people, they just want to ride the train and go to work and, read anime on the train and, maybe go out and get blind drunk at night. And those are the privileges of living in a developed world. You can do that. And in Japan, you could do it safely. As I said, I've been there many times. But they also have yet to fully shake off, and I think they're starting to. And I hope that Takaichi can get in there to shake off that shame that constantly gets thrust upon them about World War II, whether it's from the Chinese or from the Koreans. Yeah, you know what? Fuck that. In the same way that, when people say, well, what about slavery? Fuck that. Well, what about, native genocides? Fuck that. For us as Americans, we don't live in a slave culture. If you want to go to a slave culture, well, there are lots of those going on in the Middle East and in Africa. We live in a free society, and you can do anything you want. But if you choose at the individual level to look into the past and to stay focused on the past, then guess what? Life is going to pass you by. And we've had that happen in a lot of our cultures, Black cultures, for several generations now. And they don't seem to realize it, and they're not interested in hearing anything else. So let them go. Have a nice time. What happened in the past? Yeah. Sorry, it's a trapping. And the language is very specific here. To keep people feeling guilty, to keep people feeling ashamed, to keep people feeling anxious, so that they can be frozen as their culture commits suicide. Let's go. The remarks, are a cause of annoyance to supporters of Takaichi. Yeah, I would imagine so. A follower of the late Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who sought to draw a line under soul-searching about Japanese conduct in the war. Yes. Understand, totally get it. But yeah, 1945 was 80 years ago. So if you got a long memory, good for you. I wouldn't make it the cornerstone of any decisions you made today. She has spoken out against immigration at a time when small parties espousing anti-immigrant views are winning support. That's a good thing. Ishiba speaks for many others who are concerned by her nationalism, including those within her own party and Komeito. What's wrong with saying make Japan great again? What's wrong with saying Japan is for Japanese? What's wrong with saying Japan should be great with a strong economy, a strong defense, strong borders? What's the problem? What's the problem with any country saying that? There isn't. For 26 years, Komeito has mobilized its network of local supporters to campaign for the LDP and laid to one side its pacifist politics. There's another one. Yeah, there's another useless fucking quality. In return for a voice in a government of conservative politicians with whom it has little ideological common ground. So you're pacifists in a dangerous world where you're constantly being infiltrated by Korea, by Japan, by China, by Russia. But yeah, let's keep it in neutral. It's just craven. Komeito is the political arm of the influential religious organization Soka Gakkai, and the coalition between an organization of pacifist Buddhists and the increasingly conservative LDP has often seemed unnatural. So, in the best of all possible worlds, the way that I see it, this could be a good thing. There's an old saying about the term crackpot comes from, and that when a pot has cracks in it, you pour the water in there. And so the pressure from the water will reveal where the cracks in the pot are. So this election or potential election of a very conservative, hardline, nationalist Japanese woman who models herself after Margaret Thatcher is pouring water in the pot. And guess what? The pacifists are the first one to jump ship. So, in the best of all possible worlds, the LDP will find new coalition partners to get enough votes to make this happen. Komeito MPs argued that from their position within the government, they were able to exercise a moderating influence on the LDP, which has placed Japan exactly where it is today. And that's not a good place. Not a good place. A moderating influence on the LDP that would have been impossible from opposition. According to Japanese media, Saito secured just such a concession from Takaichi on the controversial matter of the Yasukuni Shrine, where the souls of Japan's war dead, including executed war criminals, are revered as Shinto deities. Well, guess what? Japan has about 1,000 years of samurai culture. I like anime as much as the next guy, but in truth, there's no substitution for the real thing. And they could use some iron in their spine right now. Takaichi is a regular worshiper, but she has reportedly agreed not to pray there at the shrine's autumn festival this month, an act that would have provoked rage in countries invaded and colonized by Japan, including China and South Korea. They need to fucking get over it too. However, there was no compromise on a matter of greater concern to Japanese voters, the way in which the LDP raises political funds. Komeito, known as the Clean Government Party, clean, and doing absolutely nothing. So, you're not, it's like that saying that, a harmless person is a good person. You're just a rabbit. You're just a rabbit who's depending on the mercy of other people not to bite your neck. Known as the Clean Government Party, was annoyed at Takaichi's appointing LDP Deputy Secretary General Koichi Haguida, who has been embroiled in a scandal about an illegal slush fund. Politicians are going to politician. And you know what I like? That what I'm seeing in these nationalist movements around the world, we're having a movement like that now here in the United States. They're not electing saints. I'm not electing a saint. I go to church for that. My patron saint, St. Michael the Archangel. I'm reading right now. Consecration to St. Joseph. I don't get to vote for them in the ballot box. That's a spiritual matter. I don't expect that from the people in Washington, D.C. or in Trenton, New Jersey, or my local committees. Hey, guess what? We're all flawed. Maybe some people have taken some money. Welcome to the real world. In August, he was found guilty and fined under Political Funds Control Act because his office failed to report 23 million yen, 113,000 euros in income. Oh, God. Even Takaichi referred to him recently as, quote, damaged goods, but she has rejected proposals by Komeito to tighten rules on political funding. You know what? $100,000, that's what this is about, $100,000. That's what this is. You're going to flush the whole country down the toilet for $100,000. Right. Evidently, the party has concluded that its association with the LDP has become a political liability. Fuck all the way off. We aim for a new form of politics based on cooperation with other parties. Other globalists, you twat waffle, Saito said. It was sometimes difficult for Komeito to put forward its own proposals, and there were many instances where we had to restrain ourselves. Thank God. Despite the setback to Takaichi, the LDP remains the biggest party in the Diet, and opposition parties will have to overcome dissent among themselves to agree on the candidate to stand against her. Well, there we are. It is my sincerest wish for the sake of Japan, for the sake of the region, for the sake of the world, that someone like this, or this lady particularly, becomes prime minister. I've spoken to some of my Japanese friends. They're very excited about the proposition of this woman becoming prime minister. Let's hope that the LDP is savvy enough to pull it off and to get what they need from other coalitions or other people to make something happen for the sake of Japan. Okay, that's my video. Like this video. Leave a comment. One word comment is fine. Helps with the algorithm. We will see you all in the next one as this story progresses. I said I was thinking about doing a video on Israel, Gaza. It looks like they've come to a peace deal. And I think I am going to get to that either later today or tomorrow because there's some bullshit going on. But we'll see how it plays out. I hope the hostages do come home. All right, that's my video. All the best, and God bless you. All right, take care, everyone.